It's daybreak on the Rise News, and it's time for the press preview. A first look at what's happening on the front pages as they arrive, and we'll begin with our sister publication, This Day This Morning. The first headline in this day: Atiku at NGE Forum vows to continue Obasanjo's economic policies. And Tinubu: I can't Islamize Nigeria if I couldn't Islamize my home. Senate backs CBN on Naira design after Rowdy session. And Okowa: Nigeria's insecurity is a result of widening poverty.
The Punch newspaper, it's leading with Muslim ticket coming up again. Friends criticizing me lobbied for vice president slot. That's according to Tinubu. Well, he's met with the Christian Association of Nigeria apologizing for his choice of Kashim Shettima. Nigeria needs religiously neutral state, not a religious state. That's according to federal government advisors. We'll wait to see how that turns out. Federal government ASU begin fresh showdown. Minister tackles lecturers. We will be discussing this morning. Naira redesign targets looted funds. That's according to the EFCC. And government's planning bank guarantees for Nigeria-Ethiopia deal.
And in the Nation newspaper, Tinubu: I'm not taking office on religious grounds. And World Bank okays $13.5 million financing plan for Nigeria. Buhari approves a 134.7 billion naira for military veterans. And also in the Nation newspaper this morning, FG also begins fresh shutdown. Ministers tackles lecturers. Naira redesigns targets looted funds, says the EFCC chair.
This is the leadership. It's also leading with the Muslim ticket. The Christian Association of Nigeria softens stance. Presents demands to Tinubu. They say they want equal rights for all religions and self-actualization for all ethnic groups. I wonder how that will happen. They're saying no to open grazing as well. And Atiku, on his part, as the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, is saying he will form a government of national unity. You, the chairman of the PDP, boast the party will win Lagos and 24 other states. The EFCC chairman says the Naira redesign may crash the dollar to 200 Naira. I do not think there is a rational possibility for that.
Oh, let's go to the foreign scene now. We'll begin with the Independent. Bank hits out at ministers over damaged economy. And Trump 2024 and the long arc of history.
And this is the Financial Times. Hunt aims big cuts and tax rises at repairing Britain's frayed reputation. Sign up to hardcore working culture or move on. That's Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, has told the people working there you have to do extra shifts to achieve Twitter 2.0, or you can take 3 months severance pay and walk away.
And now for the press review, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello for his analysis. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel. I think it cuts across all the major local headlines this morning. Tinubu's appearance with Khan, and he did say in the This Day leads with I can't Islamize Nigeria if I couldn't Islamize my home. Now, and this is coming out at the point where before now there was a big, people had various opinions about the Muslim ticket that the APC chose, and yet we have the presidential candidate of the ruling people, All Progressive Congress, coming to meet with a Christian body, and a whole lot was said. Let's talk about this, Emmanuel.
Yes, and it's 99 days to elections, and Tinubu is actually practically apologizing and explaining his choice of running mate. It's not a very good place to be at this point, at this time of the race. It's not you need to be explaining your policies and your plans and your ideas of how you are going to govern if you ever made a president at this point, and not to be defending the choice you've made. But that's where he finds himself, and that's where the Tinubu campaign finds itself, where they have to explain is, remember, the forfeiture issue is still dangling there like some sort of Damocles. And then you have this ticket, this contentious ticket. It's something that some of these things, are not going away so soon. So in the meeting yesterday, he tried to explain explained it. He brought his own family story into it. He said, look, I'm married to a Christian woman. All my children are Christian. I came from a minority part of this thing. There's nothing in me that suggests that I am, I'm intolerant. I'm a religious bigot and all of that. He tries to put himself forward that he's the perfect example of the balance, the sort of balance that his ticket was not providing as far as many people were concerned. So he is making a case. He's saying that look at me, take me for the face value or for what I stand for. I respect Christians, I respect their right. Incidentally, there are people who are going to also question that. They'll say your family actually also reflected the sort of thing that we thought your ticket should reflect, which is the fact that you balanced your family. You're a Christian, your wife is a pastor. A little bit of that could have gone into his ticket too. Well, he tried to make a case for that. He said, look, he was not hunting for a religious partner. He was looking for someone that will be able to be effective and competent. It's also the argument that has backfired in many places. A lot of people saying you couldn't find a competent Christian, or you couldn't find a competent person from the minority, the north, or the minority north, or what's the problem? So the fact that we're talking about this 99 days Benny to the elections does also tell you that it's still a serious problem, and I think the campaign recognizes that problem and is trying to do something about it, believing that it will hurt them, because it came with a lot of rejection, with people saying that particular ticket is not a reflection of who we are. All the other campaigns actually try to balance it. And maybe in another time, in another era, this wouldn't have been such a thorny issue. But to remember that the APC has been blamed for all sorts of things, especially President Buhari. He's been blamed for nepotism and, service chief, all from one demography or from one religion. So he suffered all of that. So to suddenly, in the midst of, at the time that the country is really, really divided along these fault lines, to suddenly come up with a Muslim ticket was something that was bound to be very, very controversial. And that is what has dogged the Tinubu campaign to this moment. He's offering explanations, and Leadership newspaper is suggesting that there's been a little bit shift of a stance from the CAN, or from the Christian Association of Nigerian Group, saying that, well, okay, here are our demands, if you can meet this, if you can meet that. But how much of that is going to shift the needle, especially with the dominant Christian community in the north, and to some extent also in the south? You wonder where this argument will go further in this very, very interesting issue.
Sorry, Emmanuel. Sorry, Ken, let me just come in a little bit, Emmanuel. He said his choice of Shettima as a running mate was for the sole purpose of votes. But even at that, we all know that Shettima is not necessarily a majority Muslim. He's one of the minority Muslims. So how does it still culminate into votes for
exactly
for Asiwaju?
Yeah, when he made those excuses, the talking point, especially on social media, this kind of sort of thing that Benny, you're talking about, that what is this choice all about? Even if you were targeting votes, like he said, in one of his explanations, he said, look, I'm a minority Muslim from the south, and I needed to be accepted by the Muslims in the north. But even if that's what you were going for, you probably wouldn't be going for that kind of person. You'll probably go to the northwest and target the votes, the huge votes there, and pick one of them. Other people say that, well, Shettima was a counterpoise to the choice of Atiku as the presidential candidate, who is also from the northeast Benny. So look, he wanted to counter that. It's a tough thing for him, and he will need to do more of this explanation as we go into the this cycle. And when he says things like Shettima was picked because of competence, that also backfires. He doesn't really sit down well with people who say that, well, he's not the only competent person. The Punch newspaper, the Punch is reporting that he's saying, look, it's taking the fight back to people like Yakubu Dogara and Baba Chela. He said, look, even some of these people opposing it actually lobbied for the position. He won't be in this position. He won't be in this place explaining all this if he had just balanced the ticket. But he's explained where he found himself at the time he was taking this decision, that he needed the votes, he needed to appeal to the north, he needed to appeal to the Muslim north, and because that's where he believes his votes will come from. Again and again, that annoys especially the Christian from the north central, what we call the middle belt. They feel that is belittling them. They feel that is relegating them. They feel that is telling them that, look, we can't help you get the kind of votes you are looking for. But then he said, look, well, it's about negotiation, it's about the numbers, and that is what he was going for in this choice.
We're looking forward to seeing that. But I would like to point out at this point, when people talk about Islamizing Nigeria, that's not possible. But it's the audacity that comes with having someone who is from your religion up in that place. And the Christian Association of Nigeria is saying they want equality of all religions. What do you understand by that, Emmanuel?
Well, yeah, you're right. Okay. That's the point Tinubu is trying to make, that just look at me. The point he's making is, look at me. Do I look like a religious bigot to you? I am not. My family, look at the color of my family. My children are Christians and all of that. I'm not trying to Islamize. If I can, in one of the very punchy quotes, I think in the front of this day, he said, look, I can only Islamize this country if I can Islamize my own family. That is strong. That's the point he's trying to make. But no matter how you look at it, I think it's the optics for so many people. The fact that, look, we're going to have an Aso Rock that is not evenly balanced in terms of our religious coloration. That is not sitting down well with so many people, where the highest decision that will affect their life will be taken, and they don't seem to be represented there. I mean, even Buhari didn't do that. He picked a pastor in the presence of Obasanjo to be his vice president. So I think, again, like I said, someone said, look, if this were another time altogether, we had it one time under the Abiola Kingibe arrangement, but this is a different time altogether. In the last 7 years, the religion has been on the front burner. And you can see all sorts of situations with the banditry, the kidnapping, the crisis in the north. As a matter of fact, the crisis everywhere. It was only sensible that any campaign would try to see how they can go across the divide and put people's fear, allay people fear that, look, they are balanced and that they will take decisions that will make their lives better, and not the one that will seclude them. That's what he's trying to do with this reach out. Some people say it's a little bit too late, a little bit little to do now, that he should have done all of this before setting out to do this. But it's politics, and he's reaching out to the relevant bodies to say, look, I'm trying to explain this ticket. It's a difficult place to be, where instead of explaining your policies, what you are going to do, like Atiku was doing yesterday, clearly explaining that, look, I'm going to be the candidate for change. I'm going to continue with the Obasanjo economics policy of using the private sector to change most of these things. That is what you are supposed to be doing now, and not finding yourself in a place where you are really struggling hard to explain your ticket or your choice of candidate or your choice of running mate. It's a tough place to be.
Well, you just took it off my lips. I was going to come to that. In this, they reported the opposition party presidential candidate Atiku met with the Nigerian Guild of Editors, and he did vow he was going to continue with Obasanjo's policy, stating that he also will privatize some of the nation's alien enterprise. I mean, is this a way Atiku saying, that 1999 to the point Obasanjo left office, were there some of the best times Nigeria ever experienced when it comes to all of this, as he pointed out?
Well, he's suggesting that, but a lot of people will want to go and fact check and say what those privatization really did to this country. Well, did they put wealth in the hands of many or just a few? Did they alienate Nigerians in more ways than it's supposed to be all inclusive? I think the economists and those who can fact check some of these things, we go into that. But he's saying that those are the best economic policy. Obasanjonomics, for want of a better word, that's what the kind of economic policy he's going to make. So he's going to just copy some of that, but you see him as a private sector person. He's a market-based kind of candidate, believing that market forces, more of the capitalist way of looking at things will change situation. Well, the experts will actually weigh on that and see whether those, like you say, Benny, where those are best years, the Obasanjo's years. He's trying to bring back those years and try to implement some of those policies. But the good thing is that he's talking to the Nigerian Guild of Editors, people that are well equipped to be able to check on this, afford himself platforms where he's able to talk about his dreams, explain his policies, and to see how much of that is translating into success.
Emmanuel, bless you. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has been speaking. Of course, we had Adams Oshiomhole, the former chairman of the APC, visit the state, and he's apologized for supporting the governor, the incumbent governor in Edo State. But Wike has reiterated his decision, is speaking equity, justice, and fairness as conditions for peace. in the PDP, conditioned for him to support the PDP presidential candidate. In the past, Wike has also said he doesn't support the Muslim ticket. So who are the PDP G5 going to throw the back for?
Well, for now, they are not saying, they are not, and Wike has insisted that he's going to remain in the party. But everything, his body language, the things he even say beyond body language, suggests that he is more akin, he's fraternizing more with the APC. He's invited their big wigs to, to commission stuff in his state, and the way he sounds is very clear about it. But of course, he stated on the message that, look, unless there's equity, justice, fairness, and all of that balance, in the PDP, he's not supporting anyone, but that he's not leaving the party. He will stay in there. He's got a horse in the race, his own governorship candidate of the PDP that he wants to produce. So that's where he is. I don't think much has changed from what Wike has been saying from day one when they started on this IU G5 solidarity path.
Thank you, Manobello. And that's the press preview. Let's hear your views on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV, and you can also join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDaybreak.